Welcome back to Wired-Tec. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the history of technology, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. All right, let's jump in. In our last explainer, we saw how integrated circuits help shrink computers from these massive, room-filling giants into more manageable mainframes. But they were still way out of reach for regular people, strictly for big businesses and governments. So the big question is, how did we get from there to having a computer on pretty much every desk?
Well, the answer lies in one of the most incredible shifts in all of tech history. Just radical, mind-bending miniaturization. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got the old way, a computer taking up an entire room. And on the other, the breakthrough that changed absolutely everything. A computer's entire brain, small enough to fit on the tip of your finger. This is the story of how that tiny little chip reshaped our world. It really all started with one single, revolutionary invention. The one piece of technology that truly made the personal computer possible.
And here it is, the microprocessor. In 1971, a little company called Intel released the 4004. Now, this was a game changer, because for the very first time, the entire central processing unit, the whole brain of the computer, was squeezed onto a single microchip. This wasn't just a small improvement, it was a total paradigm shift. The power that once took up a whole room was now a tiny, affordable little component. The spark for the revolution was officially lit.
So while this incredible technology existed now, it didn't just immediately jump into offices and homes. Nope, its first home was actually in the garages and the workshops of electronics enthusiasts. These were the hobbyists, the real pioneers who saw the potential of that little chip before almost anyone else.
The machine that truly kick-started this entire movement was the Altair 8800. And I know, it doesn't look like much, does it? You actually bought it as a mail-order kit you had to build yourself. It had no screen, no keyboard at all. You programmed the thing by flipping these tiny little switches, and its only output was a pattern of flashing lights. I mean, it was incredibly primitive, but for the very first time, an individual could own and build their own computer. This kit created a community, a passionate group of builders who would go on to found the entire personal computer industry.
And this quote just nails it. The Altair wasn't really a commercial product. In the way we think of one today, it was a catalyst. It proved there was this huge hunger for personal computing, and it brought all the right minds together to make it a reality.
So this whole hobbyist culture was amazing, and it paved the way for the next logical step. I mean, building a computer yourself is pretty complex. The real question became, what if you could just buy one, take it home, and just plug it in?
And that's exactly what happened in 1977, a really pivotal year. This timeline shows what's often called the trinity of personal computing. The Commodore PET, the Apple II, and the TRS-80 all hit the market. These were the first real pre-assembled home computers. For the first time, you didn't have to be an electronics wizard. You could walk into a store, buy a box, and have a working computer at home. The revolution was now accessible to everybody.
So the market was just exploding with creativity, but it was also kind of fragmented. You know, different machines couldn't run the same software. Then, the giant of the mainframe world, IBM, decided it was time to enter the fray. And their approach, well, it would unexpectedly create the standard the industry so badly needed.
The year was 1981. IBM, the most respected name in computing at the time, launched its own personal computer, the IBM PC. And this wasn't just another machine, it was a massive stamp of legitimacy for the entire industry.
But the crucial point wasn't just that IBM built a PC, it was how they built it. See, instead of using all their own proprietary technology, IBM used off-the-shelf parts from other companies. This is what's called an open architecture. And because the parts and the design weren't some big secret, other companies could legally reverse engineer it and build their own compatible machines, or clones. This created a massive competitive market. Suddenly, thousands of programs and accessories were being made for the IBM PC-compatible standard, and all that fierce competition drove prices way down, making PCs truly affordable for the masses. So, now we have powerful, affordable computers on our desks. But there was still one major hurdle left. They were really difficult to use. You had to memorize and type all these cryptic commands. The final piece of the puzzle was giving the computer a friendly face.
And the difference was like night and day. On the left, you've got the command line. If you wanted to delete a file, you had to type something like c:\del*.tmp. I mean, it was intimidating and totally abstract. But on the right, that was the future. A graphical user interface, or GUI.
To delete a file, you just use a mouse to drag a picture of the file to a picture of a trash can. It's intuitive, it's visual, and pretty much anyone could figure it out.
But this idea didn't just come out of nowhere. It was the result of a long journey, starting way back in the 1960s with a guy named Douglas Engelbart, who first demonstrated all the core concepts: the mouse, windows, hypertext. Then in the 70s, researchers at Xerox's legendary Palo Alto Research Center, or PARC, refined these ideas into the first truly modern GUI. But it was Apple, in 1984, that finally brought the GUI to the world with the Macintosh, making it the standard for how we interact with computers even today. So while the Macintosh didn't invent these features, it masterfully packaged them all into a single amazing product. That combination of the mouse, windows, icons, and menus became the universal language of personal computing. And this focus on the user experience is what truly transformed the computer from a tool just for techies into a tool for everyone.
So by the end of this era, the revolution was complete. We had affordable, powerful, and easy-to-use computers on our desks at home and at work, but they were still fundamentally isolated machines. Each computer was its own island. And this brings us to our final crucial question. How did we connect all of these islands and build the global network that would go on to define the modern world? We'll explore that in our next explainer. Thanks for watching.